So you guys really liked when Ursula talked about her design process. I mean, she always talks about design process and you really like it. So I thought, why don't I talk a little bit about my own design process? And by that I mean how I went about designing a magic system. I'm going to be discussing the magic system from my book, The Scourge of Ninepoint. You can find it on Etsy. It's just $2 for the first issue. And eventually there will be more. I promise we'll do more comics. It's just been a tough 2 years. As well, a lot of you, especially on the Discord, want to know about all the 9 points and what the deal with them is. So I thought, here's a comprehensive video. I'll probably post it in the 9 point and pin it, you know? Serena is howling and it's making me it's so hard to concentrate. She was not howling until I started recording. Now she knows I'm downstairs talking and she's like, excuse me, talk to me instead. So when I first made 9 point, I started with some basic ideas of how I wanted things to go, like what I wanted out of a magic system. I had a wish list. Okay, so here's my wish list. I wanted it to be based around 9 lives because it was going to be a cat comic, and 9 lives of a cat. That sounds like a really cool basis for a magic system. Another thing I knew was that calicos are oppressed under this system. And male calicos are especially unique, and there's something about them. Probably won't get into calicos in this because there's a whole bunch of mystery throughout the story about why calicos are banned from existing. But that was a basic thing I wanted. And I wanted white and black cats to have special properties and abilities. And I really wanted a non-traditional magic system. Like, I didn't want it to feel like wizards. I didn't want people shooting fire out of their hands because, as cool as that is, it just wasn't what I was looking for. I wanted it to be a subtle system, but also very complex. So that was my guiding principle. And another principle was that I wanted there to be a focus on luck and bad luck because different fur patterns of cats are associated with good luck and bad luck, and I thought that'd be interesting to play around with. So, moving from my initial groundwork there, I was able to come up with some more solid plans for it. So for the 9 lives thing, I considered them souls. So each cat has 9 souls, and that is some groundwork there. So the 9 souls, you can break any of them at any time, and when you do, it's like having a near-death experience. Like, you don't actually die. It's like when you see a cat almost get hit by a car and you're like, oh, you were so lucky. You used up like 3 of your lives right there. Like, that's the sort of way that the magic system works. If you're a knight and you almost get stabbed, it's very likely that your soul just broke there. If you were on your last soul, you would have been stabbed and you would have died there. The next thing I kind of decided was what luck meant. So bad luck just means that you have kind of weak souls that are just raring to be broken. So if you had a cold, you'd just be more susceptible to like it turning into a flu and you dying. Whereas if you have good luck, that kind of stuff isn't likely to happen to you. Your souls just take a lot to break and you're mostly going to be fine. That doesn't mean that if you like jumped off of a cliff, you wouldn't die or anything. You'd probably lose a lot of souls and it'd probably take you a bit longer to die. So there you go. Be careful. Don't go jumping off any cliffs just because you have 9 lives to spare. So that was my boundaries of luck and what souls were. Normal cats, the average cat isn't going to be aware of all of the surrounding magic to do with souls. It's just kind of your everyday life. It's just like being a human in this world and almost getting hit by a bus. Like, it's just something you don't really think about much. You're just like, wow, that was scary. But there are special cats that do have a greater connection to their souls and the world surrounding souls, and that's sort of where my magic system comes in. That's where the magical part of magic comes in. So with all of that groundwork, once I have like a good basis of ideas, I went into research mode because I wanted to have this be very based around cat fur colors, and I really wanted to understand the fur colors. So I went deep diving into cat genetics, and I probably went way too far than I should have gone, but I really needed to know. I needed to know everybody's phenotypes and genotypes, man. I wrote I wrote out like the whole royal family, and I tracked their whole pedigree down, and it was just a lot of fun for me because I'm a nerd. I think it's really important to research for your magic system if you're basing it off of something. I find when you research things, they can get a lot more unique than you would have expected otherwise, because your initial idea might be that hyenas are canines, but hyenas are actually felines, and this creates a whole host of new possibilities. Hyenas aren't dogs, guys. Okay? Stop this horrible rumor. Okay? So make sure to research. You learn things. And I researched a whole bunch about cats, and I decided that for my magical cats, I would focus on pointed cats, because pointed cats look cool. There's a variety of colors, so they can each have a different magical property to them. I thought, man, that's great. I like pointed cats. If you don't know what a pointed cat is, pointed cats are cats that have a form of albinism. So it's sort of like an albino cat. It's usually when you see a cat and you're uninformed about cats and they look like a Siamese cat to you, that's a pointed cat. So what happens with this albinism type gene is that only the cold parts of their body end up expressing the color that they have. So they have little colorful peats and colorful ears and a little colorful nose, but the rest of them is more muted. For the sake of Ninepoint, other variations on pointed cats also count. So sepia cats and other in-betweens, but if they have the gene that makes certain parts of their body, colder parts of their body, darker, then they are a pointed cat and they have magic. They're really cool. You'll notice that pointed cats sorry, let me nerd out for a sec, but you'll notice that pointed cats in warmer climates aren't as colorful as pointed cats in colder climates, because they're more cold, so more color is then expressed. Facts. I hope I'm putting up pictures of cats for you to better understand this concept. So I dove really deep into pointed cat research from that point on. Oh my god, not intended, that pun. And I discovered that there are 8 main varieties of cat colors. Just in general, there are 8 different colors of cats. There are some rarer things and subsets and different things, but for the most part, 8 different types of cats. There's 4 main colors, and there are 4 diluted versions of those colors. And then there's some other stuff, but let's just focus on there being 8. Simplify it a little bit. So the 4 colors and their diluted version, I'm going to pair them together so it's a little easy, are seal and blue, chocolate and lilac, cinnamon and fawn, and flame and cream. Each of those shares a relation. You don't really have to worry about the genetics of it. That's my problem. But there was 8 really well-defined cat colors. And I'm like, dang, I really wish there was 9, because 9 would round things out. So I looked to a final kind of pointed cat, which is the lynx point. And the lynx point isn't based on color, it's based on pattern. So if a tabby cat had the pointed gene, it would be a lynx point. I'm probably showing pictures of lynx points right now. And those are the different types of cats. There's 9 of them. I made it a huge mess for myself. You're probably really confused. I know I was. Ursula definitely was. And it's going to be a heck of a challenge to explain these naturally throughout the story, but I'm going to try. So after all my research, all my groundwork, all my plans and ideas, I then finally got to sit down and decide, what are the magical powers? And I wanted them to be powers that would aid in fighting. I didn't want them to be super OP. I didn't want them to feel too magical. Again, I didn't want wizards. I studied some game design because I really wanted to, because I had so many different types of magic users that I wanted them to overlap in unique and interesting ways. So let us go into the 9 different points that I came up with. I'll talk a bit about each of them. The very first thing is I decided that black cats would also have powers, because pure black cats are super cool. White cats also have powers, but we're going to discuss that at the end because it's a completely different sub-magic system that I created. But black cats do have magic. Black cats have the ability to steal souls. And black cats are able to steal other people's souls, other kittens' souls, and non-kitten souls when they break. So if a soul breaks near them, they have the ability to take it and add it to their collection of souls. Black cats are the only type of cat that can have more than 9 souls at a given time. Black cats are extremely unlucky. They break their souls all the time, which is why they kind of need to take souls from opportune situations. Not all black cats learn to use this trick at all. Some black cats aren't even aware of it. You usually need special training to use your point, but black cats have powers. That's the deal. Oh, I also didn't come up with the name Ninepoint until I decided there was 9 points, and I'm like, oh, that works. So let's move into our next points. So the first one is seal point. Seal points have the ability to fortify their souls. And what this does is it means that they cannot break their souls during the time that they are fortifying them. For the most part, I wanted to avoid magic systems that were based on like tiring people out. Like I don't like those ones. I don't hate it, but I want it to be more unique. So I didn't have a whole bunch of like, they get tired if they use their point. So this is just the one exception, but seal points get tired while they are using their point to fortify their soul and stop it from breaking. Another downside to being a seal point is if you use your seal point for too long, you can end up breaking all of your souls and dying. So don't do that, basically. So as you get more tired, you're going to start breaking souls and you're going to die. So don't use your seal point too long, okay? That was, I find seal points are the most like average as far as magic goes, but there you go. And it's not a very long period of time that they can fortify their souls. It's more something you do right before you are about to be struck so that you avoid the big troubles. Okay, so my next point is then the blue point. I have a lot of points that ended up being paired together. Even though blue and seal are technically linked, I ended up linking blue with lilac and seal with chocolate. But anyways, so blue point powers. The blue points are the only cats that can actually see souls. They can do this to count other cats' souls to see how close they are to dying. They can also, if they get really good, start perceiving things like fortifications. They can see other cats stealing souls. They can see the whole mess of like what souls are. They are the ones that get to see the comic as you read it, because I'm hoping to have Ursula illustrate a lot of like the big moments with souls doing things, so you guys know what's going on. However, blue points are the only cats that can actually see what is going on. The limitations to this is that it takes a lot of discipline to learn to do this. Everything's very foggy when you start out. It's very easy to make mistakes. So you have to learn really hard to be a blue point. The next point is chocolate point. Like I said, it's paired with seal point. Chocolate points have the ability to break through fortifications. Chocolate points can use their point to just say, heck this seal point, and destroy their soul. Chocolate points, the main limitation is that cats don't really fight other chocolate points. The 9-point empire is very, very unified at this point. In other parts of history, it was not. But currently, everything's fine. You don't really have much of a need for a chocolate point. So that's the downside there. The next one, paired with blue point, is the lilac point. Lilac points cannot be detected. No one can see a lilac point soul. They're completely invisible. Good side of that is you can hide from blue points. Bad side of that is blue points can't see how many frickin' souls you have. You're kind of doomed. You never know how close you are to dying. Like other cats can be like, hey, blue point, how am I doing? Lilac point, you're screwed. Sorry, that's just a fact. But I mean, no one can find you. You could hide. The next point is the cinnamon point. Cinnamon point is paired with fawn point. Yeah, anyways. Cinnamon points have the ability to give their souls to other cats. They can do this for helping a less fortunate cat. They can help on the battlefield. They're just lovely. cinnamon points are lovely. There's a lot of limitations to this. Only black cats can ever receive more than 9 souls. If you try and give your soul to, say, a lilac point, turns out that they already have 9 souls and they're fine, you're gonna just break the soul and no one gets to have it. How dare. And black cats are able to steal souls during the time you're transferring. So if a rude black cat's near you, he can be like, yoink, it's that soul you were given, it's mine now. Other things that can happen is once a cat hits 0 souls, you can't give them a soul. That's a horrible idea. Don't do it. It probably will just break the soul. Don't worry. And however lucky or unlucky the soul is that you're given, it doesn't change. Okay, so if you have an unlucky soul, you give it, you're just giving an unlucky soul. I guess that can be an advantage to like a black cat whose souls are just all bad luck souls. Oh, and the next one is fawn points. Fawn points can never be knights, okay? Because fawn points, their power is they can revive the deceased, technically, kind of. This is whenever someone is near a fawn point and said cat loses their final soul, it breaks, a fawn point immediately gives up their soul. So it is completely out of their control. If anyone hits soul 0 near them, it hops over to that cat and they don't die. So fawn points should never be around the sick and dying, ever, because they will eventually become the sick and dying. So that is the trouble of fawn points, but they can save someone where a cinnamon point cannot. Cream point. We're going far. Cream points was really hard to decide. Like, honestly, I was running out of ideas. But then I was like, oh, right, there are luck-based powers. So cream points have the ability to absolve luck. And so to kind of neutralize luck. And what that means is if a cream point is holding you, like fur-to-fur contact with a cream point, your luck is neutral. If you're a bad luck cat, your luck is neutral. If you're a good luck cat, your luck is neutral. The way that this is helpful is if you're fighting a very lucky enemy, holding on to them. Like, okay, side note, calicos can be very lucky enemies. So if you're holding on to a calico, it's a lot easier to kill them because their luck is now absolved. The same thing goes for bad luck. There are some powers where having neutral to good luck is beneficial. So get yourself a cream point if luck is important to you. Cream points are pretty closely tied with lynx points for this reason, because lynx points need to have neutralized luck to really up their power level. The next one is flame points. Flame points can destroy 9 lives at once of their victim enemy person. The limitation to this is that they have to burn one of their own souls to do it, and there's a very short window for it to happen. So if you are about to make contact, you have to burn your soul in order to destroy all of their souls. And if you didn't make it, it wasn't meant to be, like there was no chance whatsoever, you just burned a soul, everything's fine, and you probably didn't do any damage to your opponent. It's kind of a very disciplined point. They never really use their points. They're like trained in it, and they just gotta wait for like a time where it actually matters to do so. The next point, final point, is the lynx point. Lynx points are able to divide their souls for like a short amount of time, basically like a minute or so. And when they do this, they basically create kind of a decoy soul that can be destroyed in the place of their other soul, so that they don't end up dying. So if you're down to 1 soul, split it into 2, and then you technically lose a soul, but you didn't really. The downside to this is that it creates the souls that remain are unlucky, and you cannot split an unlucky soul. It's just going to break. So that's why you need yourself a cream point friend so that your cream point friend can hold your paw and you can split your souls till your heart's content. So yeah, those are all of the points. I hope you can kind of see how they would interplay. I know it's really in-depth. Tell me about it. But yeah, that's sort of what I created. That's what I wanted it to be not super magical, but kind of in-depth. And I want to make the battles enjoyable without having to read the entire, to like understand every single thing that is happening. You know, like it helps to understand, it adds like an extra layer to it, but if you're not like a nerd for all this stuff, it's still enjoyable and fun. And I guess that leads me to my very last bit, is I kind of made a little side magic type system, because trust me, there's more than just this magic system within Ninepoint, but this is like the most crucial. Like everything else kind of springs off of this and delves deeper into it, which is another fun thing about doing magic systems, is you start with an idea and you just go deeper and deeper and deeper, and things get more and more interesting and confusing. Anyways, the last little bit of magic is the white cats, right? I promised white cats, and this was definitely one that I had kind of from the beginning, where I wanted white cats to be in touch with the spirit world. So there's a spirit world in Ninepoint that borders the entire world of Ninepoint. And Ninepoint, I guess, is flat Earth confirmed. But the spirit world can also be reached with white cats. So basically, blue-eyed white cats in our world, human world, have a high % chance of being deaf during certain circumstances. So this is just a fact that I known forever. It's true-ish enough. And I thought that'd be like a cool place to start like a magic system as well. And so my idea, this is how this works, is white cats can't hear in our world because their souls are in the spirit world. So white cats are able to hop between the spirit world and our world. And they do this just by kind of shifting between two forms. And I'm realizing that this is kind of basically like Homestuck with the dream selves thing, now that I think about it. But yeah, that's basically it, is white cats have a dream self in the spirit world. And so white cats with blue eyes aren't able to really hear in the physical world. They're kind of disconnected from it. And so they spend most of their lives in their spirit bodies in the spirit world. They often just kind of leave. They do the cat thing where they stare at the wall and you're like, are you okay? Meanwhile, green-eyed cats are the same way, but in reverse. So green-eyed cats can go into the spirit world, but their perception of it isn't as strong. Like they can't hear, and it's just they have a looser connection to it. And finally, the most respected of cats, again, kind of comes from what I know about like mythology surrounding these cats, is there are odd-eyed cats. So these cats have one green eye and one blue. And with this, they are able to hop between both worlds and perceive in each of them. So they're like the most special of white cats. So they can hear in both worlds, and they're very connected, and they're kind of the in-betweens. And so white cats tend to be very like priestly, more spiritual. It's a much more spiritual magic than the Ninepoint magic, which is a lot more structural. They wouldn't even consider it to be very magical at all. And that's how I like it. I guess I could go in, if you guys are interested, I could kind of go further into this in a later video and talk about how this magic system then affected world building and all of that business. Up to you. If you like this or not, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, ask your questions. Again, I love questions. I'm trying to do more videos where I talk about my own stuff, honestly, because I really like talking about my stuff and it makes me a lot more passionate. I do want to do more videos that are like my old ones, but real talk here, me and Ursula both have like surgeries coming up, and it's probably a good idea to just talk about things that I like. So there you go. Ask me questions. I want to do a Q&A video. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh my god, and we have so much so many Avo videos for you guys. It's coming up. All right. Thank you for watching. Trying to think of a cat pun and I can't. Ugh. Yeah, I can't. I got nothing.